A lot of Christian podcasts, it's just dog on the man. You need all this stuff and the women just do nothing. Absolutely not. A lot of women today are pretty useless. You're not feminine. It's disgusting. It's repulsive. Men are not going to provide just for you to look and act like another man. Period. Okay? If you're loud, you're combative, you think you're this girl boss feminist, good luck being single, lady. And that's factual as well. 50% of women are going to be childless and single by 2030, a few years' time. So what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the Christian
Faith
YouTube channel, guys. In today's episode, we're going to jump straight into it. Excuse these tired Asian-looking eyes. We're waking up with the new coffee. Mugs, quit playing, guys. Come on. We are official. Once you have your own branded mugs, then you're 100% official. So with that, guys, in today's video, we want to give you some dating or courting advice. This is a very hot topic that we've been asked many times on. Predominantly, though, we want this video to be more of a kind of just to let you guys know where we screwed up, where we did not do it perfectly, maybe what we would have done better. But of course, guys, they say hindsight is always 20/20. You can always put the pieces together looking backwards. I don't regret, our process, but there were definitely things we could have done better, and just overall advice, biblically, things we did do well on. So let's just give you guys that story.
I guess I'll recap. We touched on it on, I think, 2-3 podcasts ago, something like that. We talked about our courting process. Like I said, recapping some of the things that we talked about there. We do not believe or subscribe to the idea that there's like casual dating, biblically speaking. We always see instances where both the man and the woman were faithfully chasing after God, doing the next good thing in front of them. And then in God's perfect timing, he allowed the two to cross paths, and things were pretty quick after that. We're not saying every Christian should get married in 2 months like we did. There were a lot of things that went into that, right? David immigrating here from Canada, me not being able to afford rent, right? There was a lot of things, and just like God inspiring that timing for us. But we do believe that is very problematic. It is very problematic when you start getting into trying to date for like 2-3 years when the engagement period is longer than like 6 months.
Oh, yeah, 6 months over. Red flag. Watch out.
Well, yeah, again, I would say like situations are different, but I think like if you're waiting to get married longer than like a year, it's kind of like
you're not ready.
Yeah.
You're just
and like
around.
I said, to recap with what we were talking about, we're not suggesting a certain timeline, but what we're saying is from the get-go, you need to be very, very straightforward with your expectations, with where you are at spiritually, with where you expect the other person to be at spiritually, right? And then maybe in a future video, we can go into like all the specific questions you can ask, but you need to ask the hard things right away. Rip the Band-Aid off so that, like David said, you aren't these people that are wasting time. And that's even dangerous because it's not just wasting time, but you're actually doing what Songs of Solomon tells us not to do, which is awakening your heart before it's time. You don't want to become emotionally or physically or even spiritually attached to somebody without even using proper discernment to know if they are a good fit for you to be a lifelong help or
yeah,
spouse.
So honestly, guys, the way I see things biblically, the way I see things practically, and again, of course, we're going to use some anecdotes, we're going to use our personal experience. That's what everybody does, all right, guys? They have the Bible as their foundation, then we have our experience as well, as long as it lines up biblically. You get married when you're ready, okay? Like, it's not like you're 18, and now this may be in some cases, but usually it's not you're 18, you're dead broke, you have no clue who you are, you're dating a girl, we're just going to stay together because we're both kind of Christian and wait till we get married. Usually it doesn't work like that, guys. Men and women marry when they're ready. Okay, and now, well, hold up, David. You said Mal was like dead broke, yada yada. Okay, well, she doesn't need to have the money to get married. I do, as an example. So what I'm saying is, if you're a man, you're broke, you have you just found Jesus. Like, just be honest with yourself. You have a lot of debt to pay off. You barely know 2 Bible verses. There's a good chance you're not ready for marriage yet, okay? And that's okay. That's not a bad thing. I have a lot of clients, I have a lot of guys that are just very lustful. They're very lonely, right? And of course, they're not going to admit this out loud. They're going to cope and try to tell themselves something. But, with me, they'll be honest, or at least I'll see it. And that's why you want a wife. You don't want a wife because you're ready. You want a wife because you're horny. That's it. And you're going to backfire that relationship. And there is no way in heck God's going to send you one of his daughters. So there's Christian YouTubers. You can pray for a wife as much as you want. If it's not in God's will, like, you're praying to nothing, dude. I mean, obviously God's still hearing you, so I'm not going to say nothing, but it's not going to happen, right? Because you're not ready yet. I was on my Paul Art, guys, which, if you're not familiar, we've made videos on this for about 3 years. A good 3-year period where you're really growing as a Christian. You're completely celibate, okay? So if you're struggling with addictions, porn, weed, alcohol, that's the time where we get rid of it. You're paying off debts. You're building that foundation. You're having that nest. So when you get married, because it ain't just cheap, guys, when you pay for another person now, right, you're going to go live together in a house. That's not cheap. You're creating that foundation. You're learning the Bible. You're growing spiritually. You're stacking your spiritual receipts. I will say that it's probably more important. Again, it's important in both ways, but generally speaking, I'm going to say it is more important for you as the man to get ready than the woman. Why? You guys can disagree. You can get super offended because men have to build themselves up. Men build our value. Women just have to preserve their value. A woman has her value already intrinsically within her. So all of my women watching this, you guys have life on easy mode, and you can get offended by that, but you do. Men start with zero intrinsic value. And if you don't believe me, then go date the next broke bum guy who has no purpose, no clue what he's doing. Go for it. If you're getting offended, be my guest. You're not going to, okay? Women are going to look upwards. Why? Because men are bigger, faster, stronger. Biblically, we're created first. Women are the weaker vessel. However you guys want to hit this, biblically, practically, you name it. Biologically. Men, it's up to us to be on that pole arc, to grow ourselves, to then vet a woman who has preserved and grown, because, and I'm going to let Mal speak on this, women preserve their femininity. Unfortunately, though, a lot of women, including Mal, lost that because of trauma, because of bad circumstances. So they had to relearn how to come back to that femininity. So in a sense, yes, women, you need to learn how to be women. But it's because you screwed up in being a woman.
We also
to
live
begin
in a
with.
fallen world, and like there may be, like you said, either outside circumstances or even just in the sense, like I read Titus 2, where it exhorts the older women, you have to teach the younger women how to be lovers and respecters of your husband and how to be good mothers.
Yeah.
Because yes, there is a biological and spiritual factor that it will come naturally, or there will be a desire, but you still have to be trained up and taught in these ways. Just like you can preserve a young little girl's like purity, right? But you may still have to teach her to chew with her mouth closed. You know what I mean? Like manners and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, let me recanter with that, guys. That is true. There is truth. There is a foundation within us both, but it still will have to be built. Like, men have the desire to work, to provide, to protect, but if you don't do that, it's not going to happen. Women, you're going to have those desires to be feminine, but society is going to ruin that.
I think a good way to sum it up is there is very important and difficult foundational work that needs to be done in both the man and the woman, but the things that they bring to the table are very different because they're supposed to complement one another. It's not a man and a man coming together and a woman and a woman coming together. One thing that I want to add, because I want to play not necessarily devil's advocate a little bit. I just want to add from a female's perspective, David started to touch on it, where we're not saying men have to be a millionaire before they can, you know, even ask for a wife or take a woman in marriage. But I can say as a woman, literally biologically speaking, what we look for in men is, do they have the capacity, ability, and the, what is the word, like, not just willingness, but the the zeal, the passion, the capability to be able to provide and protect for that woman long term. Because again, biologically speaking, I'm thinking I'm going to be pregnant for 9 months for multiple children, and there's going to be a time in my life where I have to stay home and I may not have the ability to work or to bring in income. So again, I'm looking at this like, do you have the capacity to take care of me and my children?
And bringing it back to women, guys, this kind of podcast is, again, we don't really know what we title this. So as men, we're going to work, right? That's biblical. Timothy, it says that if a man does not provide for his family, he's worse than an unbeliever. I think every man knows that, though. This is not a shock. For women, though, because a lot of Christian podcasts, it's just dog on the man. You need all this stuff, and the woman just do nothing. Absolutely not. A lot of women today are pretty useless. You're not feminine. It's disgusting. It's repulsive. Men are not going to provide just for you to look and act like another man. Period. Okay. If you're loud, you're combative, you think you're this girl boss feminist, good luck being single, lady. And that's factual as well. 50% of women are going to be childless and single by 2030, a few years time. So if you're a lady and you're struggling with being single, it's probably because men view you as a man. And I'm telling you from a man, it's repulsive. So that's where I want you to speak into them and what Matt, you had to do, because Mal had a lot of potential. Mal had a lot of great traits when we got married. She was coming out evangelizing. She was a great helpmate to me. She was very submissive to me, but there were still things that she wrestled with. And guys, that's okay. I'm going to wrestle with stuff. We're not perfect. We're all going to wrestle, but we do need to draw a very fine line, create the standards from both perspectives. From the woman's perspective, hey, I need you to provide X amount. I'm expecting you to do A, B, C, D. Cool. And as the man, okay, well, you don't get off scot-free. I'm requiring A, B, C, D. You're going to be predominantly staying at home with the kids. That could be meal prepping, cooking. That's going to be sex. I mean, That's never been an issue for us, but a lot of guys, that's a very like taboo subject where they feel they can't speak about it. Man, if you're not having sex in your marriage because your woman is refraining, oh my gosh, that is horrible. You have a horrible woman, and like you need to rebuke that, and she needs to get right with God. So that's part of it too. What else? Comfort, nurturing. Can a woman bring you peace as a man? Peace of mind as a man going out to the battlefield and then coming back home. And this is something Mal and I still have to work on her with. And am I feeling more combative, right? She's Latina, so she's just kind of like gets a little crazy. It's like, hey, you got to learn to shut up. You got to learn to stop. Yeah. Learn your place, lady, okay?
That's what I was going to add is like, I am continually learning these things, right? And David even mentioned like he said we don't struggle with like the intimacy thing. There have been seasons and times and moments where I struggled. It wasn't necessarily I struggled, and it's because I let a lack of respect take root in my heart, and that started to manifest in physical things. Or I just wasn't, being grateful within my marriage or even just my life in general. So again, it's constantly a work in process, but what is it? Work in progress. Yeah. And I will add too, it's not just the women who are single, but even if you are already in a relationship, if you're married, but you feel such this unnecessary heavy burden and yoke that you feel like you're leading the relationship, that's an issue. Things are out of order. And a lot of women, they get very contentious or argumentative when we bring up these conversations, but we have to understand that nothing is a neutral. The world that we live in, but especially the culture here in the West, is constantly feeding you this, oh, you and your husband are partners, that like you can lay down all these expectations of him, but the second he lays down expectations of you, like David was saying, oh, like that's a problem. You know what I mean?
Feminism. Most Christian women are feminists, and most Christian men are cowards.
Yeah, you are constantly fed this stuff on social media, growing up through the school system. And like I said, nothing is a neutral. So you, as a diligent woman of God, have to constantly be in the Word, growing closer to the Lord, asking him to really shape you to become the woman that he is calling you to be. And when he convicts you to do something, despite being painful, you have to do that, whether that is, like David said, learning how to shut up. Or for me, I'm still working on that. Or like in the past, letting go of like the tomboy clothing, right? And putting in effort and money into dressing more feminine, right? So it reminds me of my place and my role every single day. Again, if you're already in a relationship and maybe you struggle with like the sexual aspects of your thing, like putting aside your pride and your laziness and say, no, I'm going to respect and honor my husband and give him as much sex as he wants. This is kind of, we touch on a lot of things, but I'll just touch on this because I get a lot of questions like this from women, like, how much sex should we be having? Whoever has the strongest sexual desire, whether the man or the woman, that's how much sex you need to be having. Because
8 times a day.
Okay, because First Corinthians talks about how both the man and the woman have a duty to fulfill the sexual needs of the other person. Man, we can make a whole other podcast episode on that.
Mal has a higher sex drive than I do, so in my case, that's good.
Why would you say that?
I'm just joking. It's about the same. But anyways, yeah, guys, you know what? Look, the point of what we're trying to say is we're both not perfect, and we have areas we need to do better in, and you need to shut up and do it. Like, if you're married, it's not just about you anymore, okay? If it's just about you, don't get married. You know what? What are areas that I'm required to do? What are areas I'm falling in? I need to honestly look at myself in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? I'm not doing as well as providing as I should, or I'm not being as present as I should, or I'm not being a spiritual leader, right? The best I should. And as a woman, hey, you know what? I'm being contentious, yada, yada. Call it out. That's okay, guys. And if this offends you, it's because you're being indoctrinated by the world, by feminism, and you're not ready for marriage, and God will not send you a husband. Heck no. And if he does, he's going to be a goofy, effeminate, flabby, limp penis man.
You're gonna feel forced to lead the relationship.
It's gonna be disgusting. Trust me, it's going to be bad. And for men out there, my brothers, I vouch for you guys. You have standards too. Okay? You can say no to this Christian woman, who's sleeping around, looking like a whore, posting her body online. You can say no to that. That's completely fine. And you should exhort her or say, hey, you're for the streets. Respectfully, you need time to mature in the Lord. But it goes both ways. Women, you're called to submit, and men, you're called to stand up. You're called to lay down your life. We're called to be uncomfortable, all right? So if you're doing your part, being uncomfortable, then she's supposed to. Either way, we're always supposed to do our part. But especially if you're doing it as a man, hey, or let me rephrase this. if you feel that you want more from your woman, do more as a man, and vice versa for the woman out there. If you feel your man is not doing enough, then of course convict him, but then two, show him you are worthy of dying for, you know?
Right. And I'll add to that because again, this conversation was originally, we wanted it to revolve around like courting. So to single people, David was talking about within the context of if you already are in a marriage. But what I will say, if you are single, I think everybody kind of has this subconscious, or maybe you are like the girls where you already have like the list of all the requirements you have of your husband. And even men have that, which is kind of odd to me. But anyways, my exhortation to you guys is the expectations that you have for your future wife or future husband. Look at that honestly, reflect it back on yourself. And from a woman's perspective, am I living in such a way that is preparing to be a helpmate for this type of a man, right? I want a man who is a leader. I want a man who is bold, who is strong. And just like really meditating on that, like actually like asking yourself, like, do I know what I'm asking for? Right. And like I said, am I preparing diligently for it? And same thing for the men. Obviously I don't want to like give advice to them directly, but like, if you have this list, reflect it back on yourself. I want this woman, let's say, I'm just gonna give an example, like who's sexually pure, and like, are you pursuing sexual purity? I want a woman who is beautiful. Do you put effort in like your physical appearance? I want a woman who, I don't know, is like strong or bold. Are you out evangelizing?
Yeah, what
like,
Mal is saying is we just both want to be honest with us. We just don't want to be hypocritical, right? We don't want something if we're not also pursuing, whether that or, you know, something in the same domain. Kind of a good analogy that I like to is, and again, I need to make this very clear, okay? This is implied. Whenever we speak of women submitting unto men, it's because you as the man are already submitted unto Jesus, right? So what Mal's kind of saying, or what we both say, the problem with men is this. Men are expecting their woman to submit to them, or women in general, but you're not a man worthy of submitting to because you're not submitted under Jesus. Do you understand? And vice versa, women, you guys need to learn how to submit. Do you understand? Because you have a man worthy of submitting to. Do you guys see how they go both ways? It's not like, oh, that's unfair for the woman or the man. No. It's the exact same. She submits to me because I submit to Jesus. When he tells me to do stuff, I'm going to be the one that's taking the blow. But if I'm doing that, I'm required to have a helpmate. So see where you guys are, right? Is the man falling short? Because look, I'll vouch for you ladies. Most men are pathetic. It's disgusting. It's horrible. So I understand. That's why I have this channel. That's why we call men higher. We're not, just pointing fingers with one individual. It is a daily sacrifice, guys, denying our flesh, picking up our cross equally, but in different ways. That's what we're saying.
And that's, once again, our exhortation to people that are single and wanting to get married in the future. We have this very perverted image, I've said this in previous videos, where we think marriage is all sunshine and rainbows and like you won't struggle with loneliness anymore, or maybe because like you can have sex whenever you want, like, then you won't struggle with lust anymore, when in all actuality marriage is a call for you to constantly deny yourself. So when you are single, you have to build the capacity and the muscle to every single day pick up your cross, deny yourself, to not fulfill the lust of the flesh, to walk in the spirit, to be obedient to what God is convicting you to do, calling you to do, leading you to do. And like I said, when you built up that stamina or that endurance or that strength to do so, then God sees fit. Okay, you are going, exactly, next mat pack, like David likes saying, but you have the capability to take on the difficulties and hardships that can come with marriage. Yeah, exactly.
You're on your Paul arc or your Ruth arc, right? You're in mat pack level 1. God put you in that map pack for a reason. Guys are like, but I want map pack number 3. Trust me, man, you're not ready for it. Heck, I probably not ready for it either because it keeps going, okay? So enjoy that map pack you're in. There's a reason he has kept you there, to build you there, because when he sees fit, he will then elevate you guys. Not because you're perfect, not because every box is checked. No, like Mal and I made clear, we screwed up. We were not 100% pure in every single way. We weren't perfect in every way. I have my flaws. Mal has her flaws. But we lay that at the cross and we say, hey, let's stop coping and lying to ourselves. And if this is what's required, then we both got to change it. So guys, that is it. We're going to wrap up this video here. Again, we may title a certain video a certain way, or at least in my mind, I have an idea of what we want to speak about. And then it takes a complete different turn. So hopefully you guys were able to get some nuggets out of this. This is really what's going to be required as a man and as a woman, it will look different, guys. And do not believe the lie that you are 2 husbands or 2 wives. A lot of Christian podcasters, and yes, Christian podcasters, they look like 2 wives on the YouTube channel. It's really sad, and that is not what we're called to do. We have our own roles. God made them deliberately, Genesis 1:27, male and female. He didn't say both y'all going to be female, both y'all going to be male. So that's completely fine, and that is encouraged, guys, and that's what we need more of, division. Even the gospel himself, Jesus says, do not think that I've come to bring peace. I've come to bring a sword. The gospel is divisive because that's how we complement each other. You can't complement each other if you guys are the exact same thing. You might as well just be single because it's just more of what you already have. So anyways, that is it. Do you have any last thing you want to say?
I think I'll give a final exhortation to women. Like I was mentioning previously, if you have a desire for marriage, I believe that that is a calling from God. He just has to prepare you. That's one thing I want to mention earlier, as David was saying, your season of singleness is not punishment, but it's preparation. So make the most out of it, right? The Israelites were only supposed to be in preparation in the desert for 11 days, but because they were disobedient and stiff-necked, ended up being 40 years. So don't prolong your season of singleness because, like I said, you're avoiding discipleship or, disciplining and conviction from the Lord. But my exhortation for women, or even men, but specifically women, is yes, there are there's things collectively that both men and women are called to do and not do in the Bible, us as Christians. But I really want you to pay attention between the distinctions between both men and women in the Bible. And that gives you a really clear idea and understanding, okay, what is my role as one, a Christian, but secondly, as a woman of God. And thirdly, that can set you up to be able to understand your role, your place, your position, your strengths as being a future wife. Whether that's going through all the stories of the Bible of women specifically, paying attention to how God met them differently, the things that they were called to do that were different than men. So that's just my exhortation to you guys.
Boom. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Let us know what video topics you guys want us to cover. Again, the whole point of this channel is just to equip you guys to better live out the Christian faith, whether it's on marriage, discipleship, evangelism. We ain't perfect, but we're just here to document what the Bible says, what we've done well in, and things that we can learn with you guys. So thank you guys so much. If you guys want to gift into this ministry, help it grow, you can always sow into it down below. We greatly appreciate any of you guys who are sowing into it. We're able to do what we do because of you. There is always evangelism and discipleship coaching, both for men, myself, and women. If you are a woman, for Mal, and we'll finish it there, guys. God bless you. Have an amazing day. Check you next video. Till then, much love. Peace.